All right, everybody. It's true. You can see the title of the video. I did in fact leave Colombia, but there's a twist. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about it, sort of reflect on the last 6 months or so. So basically, I spent the last 6 months living in Colombia. I was 3 months, actually, I was about 2.5 months in Bucaramanga, and I was about 2.5 months in Cartagena, and I spent a month in between in Barranquilla. And basically, at the end of the day, I would have stayed longer, but my visa ended up running out. So the way it works in Colombia is you get a maximum of 180 days in the year. You start out initially with a 90-day visa, and then once you're there, you actually have the opportunity to extend it if you want. I think I paid like 50 or $100 to just extend it. Maybe not even that much. I don't remember. But I started the process to get a digital nomad visa, and I actually have a lawyer that I've spoken to about that and sort of get me started with the process pro bono. And he's available for to contract if I really need the help, if I really get stuck or gummed up in the process. But I started that process and I realized that I actually need to finish it from I don't need to finish it from the United States, but it makes it a lot easier because I have to get FBI background checks and that has to get like sent to Washington, D.C. and apostilled and then sent back. And then so to have to be able to do that from Colombia would involve like a lot of like international shipping and a lot of crazy wait times and everything. Things could get lost in the mail and who knows what. So I decided that I would just do my final 6 months and then go back home, finish up that process, reassess, and then see if I want to go back after that if I get that approved. Um, and basically, this time when I was there, since I was there for a little bit longer, I think I did get hit with some culture shock that I think is interesting to talk about. It hadn't really had that happen to me before in terms of like real, and not just culture shock in terms of, people have the misconception that culture shock is like, oh my God, the first few days like, oh my God, the money is different, and wow, the people look different, and oh my, like all those things that you notice initially that are different. That's not actually culture shock per definition. Culture shock is actually more of it's almost like a soft depression in a way, or like a soft, like it creeps up on you and it could happen at different times for different people. But mine, I think, happened around like the 3 month, about halfway through mark, where I was just sort of like bitter. And I was actually in Barranquilla at the time and I was feeling a little bit down because I was kind of bored and the city wasn't as exciting this time. It was right after Carnival, so I think everything kind of died down. So I was a little bit bored, I think. And I was just, and what happens with culture shock is all the little things that add up over time started to really get to me. And I was just bitter and sort of angry, and things were kind of pissing me off really easily. A couple of examples, you'll realize just the pace of things. Service works slower, in the restaurant and the malls and the stores. People tend to you a little slower. When you're checking out at the store, oh my God, like there'll be like one or two people in front of you, and it'll take 30 minutes to check out because they have to take the person's ID and their cedula, and they're paying in quotas, and they want to negotiate the price down. And so everything takes so long. Like it's just unbelievable compared to the States where you just go, you check out, there's like 50 people in front of you, but it's just boom, 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 and you're done, right? So it's things like that. Did I mention people just like walk slower? So you'll be walking down the sidewalk and there'll be one person in front of you and there's like a 3-lane sidewalk and somehow one person will manage to sway enough so that they're taking up the whole sidewalk and so you can't get past them and you're just sort of stuck behind them. People walking slowly, meandering, and that's the style of life, people they just move a little slower. People arrive to appointments or dates, an hour late, 2 hours late, and it's normal. What else? When I'm checking out or when I'm going to buy bread at like a bread shop, I'll be the next person in line. And then somebody who like knows the shop owner will just swoop in and they'll start ordering right in front of me. And it's like, hey, buddy, like, wait your turn. Like I'm here, but people do that. They'll just come up to the counter and start yelling out orders. And because we are used to, like line culture or sort of, wait and turn, your turn. They have that, of course, to a degree, but it's just not as strict. So some, people can just walk up and start ordering. It depends on how aggressive you are. And don't even, I don't even drive here, so thank God. But I know that the driving rules are different. So it's just a lot of things. I don't have to go down the whole list. Those are a few things that come off the top of my mind that I noticed that were starting to frustrate me. But at the end of the day, there are more pros than cons. You do feel sort of, for an American earning in dollars, you feel much more of like an alleviated economic sense. Your dollar is going 2 to 3 times as far in terms of buying groceries and transportation. You're paying for Ubers and you're getting an Uber across the city, 20, 30, 40 minute Uber, and you're only spending like $10 in some cases or less. It's like really, you really can't beat the price. I mean, you really have to try, and trust me, I tried to spend like exorbitantly and really not think about it, and even so, I was able to save up money. So you really, really have to try to blow through your money when you're living in Colombia. And so economically, if you have the opportunity, if you're working remotely, if you have those conveniences, it'll work out a lot better for you. I can't lie, the weather is great. Depends on where you go. You can go to Bogota and get sort of like a chilly fall weather. You go to Medellin, you get a warm spring, rainy weather. You go to the coast, you get a Caribbean hot, sultry, sweaty, beach weather. You go somewhere else, you get like a mountain, you go somewhere else, you get a lake, so it's such a diverse country, and you have such a diverse, you can really find the vibe or the city that you like, the people that you like, the weather that you like, the food that you like, and different things. So there's a lot going for it. So economically, it makes a lot of sense. It feels foreign in that there's not they have a lot of their own brands. Like Juan Valdez is like their Starbucks, except it's much better. They have like a lot of different coffee places, a lot of their own restaurants, a lot of their own fast food places. And so they're developing sort of their own cultural angle to things, which makes it, interesting. So that you're not just always seeing, of course, they have like McDonald's and KFC and things like that, but they have like their own version of all that too. So it feels different. So you're not just getting the same old Americanized stuff that you might get in other places, closer to the States, more Americanized and those things. So that makes it more interesting, I think, in those ways. So. Yeah, for me, I mean, maybe I'll just leave the video at that. I think if you haven't gone to check out Colombia, I mean, yes, it is still probably oversaturated in some areas like Medellin and Cartagena, but there are so many cities that are, just not, I don't want to say not discovered, but that's the good thing about it is that there's a lot of options. There's probably 10 cities with at least 500,000 population, sort of medium to larger cities where you can go and find your own vibe and check it out. So my conclusion is, 6 months, it was really great as usual, and I will be going back eventually. I don't know if it's this year, depends on my visa process. But yeah, that's about it. So I'm excited to go back eventually, taking a break for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to speak with you. So I will see you guys soon.